These muffins have more vegetables in them than any other ingredient. Take a gander at this inside. Look at all that green and orange. It's looking like the 2024 Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins in there. And guess what? You can't even taste the vegetables. I was taking a stroll through Target not long ago and I saw these muffins in the freezer section and it stopped me in my tracks. I said, "What? Veggies made great? That's scientifically impossible. I must try." The flavor was surprisingly good. The price? Woof. $6.19 for 6 muffins? Not on my watch. I knew we could do better than that, so Joshy Crocker got his butt in the kitchen and I made 30 of them for Snack City in the freezer. Here's how I did it. These muffins are both gluten-free and dairy-free and I make them using oat flour. You can buy oat flour at the store, but it's expensive and it's really easy to make yourself. All you do is toss some oats into a blender and then pulverize it down into a powder. When I make oat flour, I'll do a big batch at once and throw the excess into the pantry for later use. If you don't care if your muffins are gluten-free or not, I'm sure you could just use regular old all-purpose flour and these are going to turn out relatively the same. To start the muffins, we'll attack the vegetables first. We need to shred both the zucchini and carrots and squeeze out all the excess juice.
But Josh, actually, zucchini is a fruit.
Shut up, plant boy, that's loser talk. Sure, botanically, it may be classified as a fruit, but culinarily, it's a vegetable, so just let us have this. In this recipe, you'll need 500 grams of pressed zucchini, which for me required about 4 medium-sized zucchini. You're going to shred that using the medium-sized holes on a box grater. If you have a food processor with a grater attachment, this process can be completed in seconds. Once you get it all shredded up, place the zucchini into a cheesecloth or a handful of paper towels and do your best to squeeze the water out of it. You don't need to get every last drop, but put some effort into it and get a good amount. If you leave in too much water, it's going to saturate your muffins. After you squeeze the water out, weigh that zucchini to make sure you've got 500 grams. If you went the paper towel route like I did, put a watchful eye on that bowl as the wet paper towels can rip easily and leave pieces behind. You are going to repeat the same shredding process with 3 small-sized carrots. You'll need 100 grams of the pressed carrots in the end. I went through blood and bone to get these carrot shreds. Ow! They're calling me a hero for even finishing this recipe. I could have bled out. Once shredded, do the squeeze out process again and add 100 grams of the pressed carrots into the bowl with the zucchini. If you happen to capture all the juice you squeezed out, you can have yourself a nice little ripper of carrot juice. Next, place 3 good-sized ripe bananas or 400 grams worth into a large bowl for the muffins. Mash these up using a fork until they are smooth and no big clumps are left. The riper the bananas are, the sweeter they will be, which will then make your muffins taste even better. Brown bananas are the way to go here. To the bowl, you can dump in the zucchini and carrots, then pour in 1 tablespoon or 12 grams of vanilla extract, 1 cup or 240 grams of maple syrup, and crack 6 eggs into the bowl. Beat the eggs to incorporate the yolks and the whites together before you go mixing them into the rest of the ingredients. Then once they're ready, you can stir the contents of the bowl together to mix the syrup and eggs into the vegetables. The dry ingredients are up next. Sprinkle in 1 tablespoon or 12 grams of cinnamon and 1.5 teaspoons or 6 grams each of baking powder and baking soda. Follow that up with 1/2 teaspoon or 3 grams of salt. I'm sure many baking purists would want you to mix all the dry ingredients in a separate bowl first, but big surprise, guess who's not a baking purist and does whatever is easiest? This guy. Although I do add the leaveners before the flour and mix them in just to make sure they don't get stuck in any pockets. Then when those are stirred in, I dump in 3 cups or 350 grams of oat flour and stir vigorously to form the batter. There is no gluten in here, so you don't need to be concerned with overmixing. Now that the batter is ready to go, get out your muffin tins and spray them lightly with some oil. Divide the batter evenly into the wells of your muffin tin. Placing this batter into a piping bag and piping it into the wells would probably be the easiest way to do this. I took a cookie scoop and gave each well 2 scoops. Unfortunately, baking a big batch of muffins in a home kitchen isn't the easiest thing to do. I highly doubt many of you have more than 1 or 2 muffin tins in your arsenal. That's going to mean you'll need to cook the muffins in multiple batches, and after each round of baking, remove them from the tin so that you can reuse it. Top each of the muffins with 5 chocolate chips, which will be about 90 grams worth total. You're going to bake these at 350 degrees or 180 degrees Celsius for 18 to 22 minutes or until they have set in the center. When they're finished, pull them from the oven and give them a chance to cool for 5 to 10 minutes. After that, you can transfer them over to a wire rack and clean out your muffin tin if needed. Give it another light spray of oil and fill the wells with your remaining batter. Continue this process until everything has been used up and all of your muffins have finished baking. Once completed, transfer all of your muffins over to a wire rack, a sheet pan, or whatever else will fit inside of your freezer. Each of these muffins has about 119 calories with 19.4 grams of carbohydrates and 3.2 grams each of protein and fat. The bananas carry much of the flavor here, and these muffins taste more like banana bread than they do zucchini or carrots. In fact, if no one told you these had vegetables in them and you tried it blindfolded, you would probably never even know. Move the muffins into the freezer where they can sit uncovered so they have the chance to freeze solid before you bag them up. This will ensure they don't get smushed, and so that the chocolate chips don't smear all over your bags as well. I let the muffins go overnight and came back to finish the next morning to vacuum seal them in their long-term homes. If you've been watching this channel long enough, you know that the ZWILLING Fresh Save vacuum system is the commander-in-chief of the Snack City Defense Force in the war against freezer burn. I divide the muffins up into the Fresh Save bags so that I can vacuum seal them, but also have the option to grab a couple out at a time and still re-vacuum the bags with ease. Protecting your snacks for the long haul should be important to you if you plan on maintaining a thriving snack city. Digging into your freezer and finding that a bag of your snacks has been contaminated with freezer burn is such a downer. Vacuum sealing your snacks can help prevent this from happening and can help maintain freshness for up to 5 times longer. Use the vacuum pump to pull out all the air and you've got yourself a nice little shield around your muffins. ZWILLING makes great stuff. The blender from earlier, the box grater, all the knives I use, the pots and pans you see in the background here, all from ZWILLING. They are offering US-based members of TMPM Nation a deal on the 7-piece Fresh & Save vacuum starter set for 10 extra bags for free when you use the code MEALPREP at checkout. Shout out to ZWILLING for sponsoring this video. When the muffins are all tucked in, they can move into Snack City and be ready for you at a moment's notice. Reheating them is as simple as pulling a bag from the freezer, grabbing out as many as you want to eat, and sending them through the microwave for 60 seconds or so to thaw them out. Depending on how many are on your plate and the power of your microwave, it could be plus or minus 30 seconds. I think they are best if you let them sit for 1 to 2 minutes after coming out of the microwave so they can let off a little steam before you eat them. I say this, and yet almost every time I reheat some, I end up eating one straight away because my monkey brain can't say no to ready-to-eat food in front of my face. The second one is always better because it has had time to cool a bit. Like I mentioned earlier, making a big batch of muffins can be a bit tedious in a home kitchen. I didn't test this, but my intuition tells me that you could probably put the batter into 1 or 2 cake pans, bake it, and then just cut the cake into smaller squares and accomplish a similar goal just with a different shape. This way you won't have to deal with the ring around the rosy with the muffin tins if you don't have enough of them in your kitchen. The written version of the recipe with the ingredients and instructions listed is on my website, which is linked in the description below. You can also find a link to the Fresh & Save starter set down there if you are interested in taking your Snack City protection to the next level. I promise you these muffins will be among the easiest ways for you to eat some vegetables. They work great as a breakfast or dessert, and I'm sure your kiddos will love them too. Give them a try.